We analyzed over 3,000 cold calls and saw the same pattern. Most deals are lost within the first 20 seconds. If you already know that you need to ask a question in the first 5 seconds, great, you're ahead of the game. But asking a question just isn't enough. At Prospeo, we've generated millions of dollars in revenue from B2B sales calls, and we found the real difference, the thing that separates a quick hang-up from a booked meeting, is the quality of your questions. I'm Kevin from Prospeo, and today I'll share the exact frameworks we use to ask smarter questions on cold calls to turn them into real conversations. Let's dive in. Before we get to what works, let's talk about what doesn't, because chances are you're using some of the old saturated questions prospects hear all the time. Here are 4 cold call questions that immediately kill conversations before they even start. The first question you should stop asking prospects is, are you looking for new clients? Because this question shows that you did not research them or their company, and you're just asking this question to every single person on your list. And they can sense that this is a bait question to set them up for your pitch. They know that you're about to advertise your marketing, your lead generation, your SEO services, because they get 1,000 other cold callers asking the same thing and offering the same product. So you'll quickly hear, I'm not interested, or they're going to just hang up on you because they know what's coming. The second question you need to stop asking prospects is, what's your biggest challenge? Because if you haven't built enough rapport yet, they're not going to reveal their pain points to you, to a stranger, especially on a cold call. So you're often going to hear, we're good, thanks, or yeah, I'm not interested. The third question you need to stop asking is now a bad time to chat? You're literally giving them permission to hang up on you. Of course they don't have 5 minutes to a random salesperson. This is super overused and it lowers your status significantly. And finally, the generic industry questions. These are questions like, how are you getting customers at the moment? Or are you currently marketing your business? These questions could literally apply to any company and any industry, and it shows that you didn't do your homework. These questions often fail because it's all about you fishing for more information from them, not you showing that you understand their world. And prospects can smell that from a mile away, and this is why they don't want to engage with you. Great cold call questions does 3 things. Number 1, they've shown that you've done your research. Number 2, they create curiosity. And number 3, they get the prospects to open up about their current situation. The golden rule is you shouldn't cold call without researching the person and company first. And I'm talking about just 3 to 5 minutes on their LinkedIn, company, website, industry news. And this isn't optional. This is what separates the top 1% from 90% of SDRs who are currently using the same generic openers and templates. Not every cold call should sound the exact same. Yes, you can use templates, but tweak it to the prospect. And this is where most reps mess up. They use the exact same lines for every single person they're talking to, and it's almost like they're reading off a script. So if you want to have better conversations, don't read off a script, understand the frameworks, and tweak it to every single conversation that you have. For our team, we don't have a single opener that we use for everyone we call. So our reps, they use different openers depending on the prospects they're calling or whatever they're most comfortable with, because there's no one-size-fits-all opener that's going to work on everyone. And me personally, I like to use the tailored permission opener, which is essentially I reference the specific research that I found on them or their company, and then I ask if it's worth their time. And most prospects, they get curious enough and they would give me that green light to have a chat. So once you got past the opener and they agreed to have that conversation with you, here are 3 great questions to ask to engage your prospects. First is the peer comparison question. And it goes something like this. Yeah, so I'm calling because I speak with a lot of VP of sales at B2B SaaS companies like Slack and HubSpot, and their biggest challenge is ramping new AEs quickly without pulling focus from existing reps that need a hit quota. How does that compare to your 2 new hires? So this question has 3 parts. First, it adds credibility by saying you've spoken with people of similar roles at similar companies. Secondly, it introduces a common problem they're experiencing. And lastly, it asks an open-ended question about their current situation to see how they compare to their peers. This is where prospects are more likely to open up to you because now they perceive you as an expert in the field. The second question is called the colleague callout. This is a great opportunity to call upon one of their colleagues that you've spoken to previously, and they've given you some type of information or context about their company, and you can use this to build trust, and it also shows that you're actively listening. So one of the tactics we like to do is, instead of calling the decision maker right away, we start at the bottom and we cold call a few of the employees that are involved in the day-to-day operations. Then when you work your way up and you talk to the decision maker, you can reference some of the things that they mentioned and explain in detail what the problem actually is, so they can see this is a big issue. So this question will look something like this. Yeah, I just spoken with Juan and Rachel from the AP department, and they both mentioned that your reporting speed is the biggest bottleneck why the whole department has to work overtime for the past year and a half. What's the cost to the business if you don't solve this reporting issue in the next 6 months? But now you've successfully engaged them because you've shown that you know about their problems, you've spoken with their team, and now he feels the need that he has to address the bottleneck. And lastly, the educated assumption question. So instead of asking what their problems are, you make educated assumptions based on your research, and then you let them correct you. So it starts by bringing up some relevant facts about the company, especially if you bring up a known problem or issue they've been dealing with, and then you strategically assume that they're completely satisfied with their current situation. So it would sound something like this. Yeah, I noticed you're expanding your sales team by 40% this quarter. And based on your growth, I assume all your reps are consistently hitting quota every month and you're 100% satisfied with their performance. Is that accurate? Nobody, and I mean nobody, is ever 100% satisfied with anything in their business. So they're immediately going to respond with, well, I want to say I'm 100% satisfied, or I'm not completely satisfied. And now you can naturally dig deeper by asking, wait, really? What aren't you completely satisfied with? And this is where they're going to open up and tell you exactly what's missing. And the beauty of this approach is that you're not being pushy or aggressive, and you're actually giving them an easy way out by assuming everything's perfect. But since perfection doesn't exist in business, they'll naturally want to correct you. And that correction is the key to having an engaging conversation. And if that thing that they mentioned they're not satisfied with, if your product or solution can help solve that for them, then this is a great place to transition in asking for the meeting. The difference between a successful cold call and a hang-up comes down to preparation and question strategy. Remember, research before you dial, ask questions that demonstrate insight rather than fishing for information, and transition into booking meetings by offering value instead of immediately asking for time. Start asking these questions this week in your cold calls, and I guarantee you're gonna have way more engaged prospects, have more open conversations, and ultimately book more meetings with people who actually want your help. So if you got value from this video, like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.